From Josh Blake, should Denver sign John Johnson from the Rams in free agency? So I think it was Bleacher Report, is that right, Producer Sam? Listed Johnson as the best target for Denver, which I thought was dumb, to be honest. It's fine if you're not going to pay Justin Simmons or you're going to cut Kareem Jackson, but you have two good safeties. You don't need a highly paid third one. So for Denver, as a Jackson or a Simmons replacement, okay, sure, but you should not have your top target be a replacement for someone already on your roster. I don't love the idea of creating a need at one spot just to fill it in free agency for the same cost. Just pay Simmons and keep Jackson. That makes more sense, I think, if you're Denver. So with that in mind, name your dream free agent target for me down there in the comments section. Any player you want who, of course, is a free agent. Let me know what player you desperately want to add in this year's offseason free agency class. Shanav, Fitzmagic to Denver to mentor Drew Lock like Tua and probably take Lock's spot. I wonder if from Fitz's perspective, if he's going to go, no, I want to be a starter, or at least have a chance to start. I think if Denver adds a veteran quarterback, it's going to be under the guise of, hey, if our starter is bad, we are down to take a look at you and give you playing time as we try to keep our jobs alive. But we're not promising you a starting role or even the chance to compete for one immediately. So if you want a veteran, I'm on board with.
All right, we got Kyle Bayless. Where does Kyle Van Noy end up? It's a good question here. So if you guys are watching this, excuse me, Kyle Van Noy was technically been notified that he's not going to go back to the Miami Dolphins. He hasn't quite been released yet, and we're filming this on Wednesday, but Miami right now is going to try to move on from him either in a trade or just release him. He had 69 tackles last year. There's a lot of different options that he could end up going to. Some of the teams that I think do make a lot of sense for a player like Van Noy, I think the New York Giants make some sense. I think the Denver Broncos make some sense. The New England Patriots, off the top of my head. But there's definitely going to be a lot of teams buying for Kyle Van Noy. There's no doubt about that. Got a super chat coming in from John Houston. Should Denver go for Darnold? What's his value? 1, I am not giving up a first-round pick for Darnold. I'm not giving up, honestly, a second or third-round pick for him. If you want to give up a fourth-rounder, I'm totally okay with that. As much as I don't really like Drew Lock, I'd actually probably maybe rather roll with Drew Lock than Sam Darnold. If you're looking for an awesome deal, look no further. NFL shirts under $18.74. If you got a favorite team, which I imagine y'all do, go to chatsports.com/NFL shirts because they just released these new shirts, and they like to call them their X-ray shirts. I think they're super dope. They come in sizes from small all the way up to 4XL, and in fact, Broncos shirts are even cheaper than $18.74. And if you're a Buccaneers fan, I've even seen $14.99. I mean, if you need an NFL shirt, usually they're $25, I believe, but they are on sale right now. They come in all different colors, all different sizes as well. Chatsports.com/NFL shirts. If you want to spam in the chat who your favorite NFL team is, please go do it. I definitely would appreciate that. One more time, chatsports.com/NFL shirts, where you can get these X-ray shirts under $18.74. But hurry, because I do know for some NFL teams they are going quick, so don't be the fan that misses out on this awesome deal. What up, Nico? Denver target Eric Wilson, #NFL. So Eric Wilson is actually a really fun player in my opinion, and if Denver is trying to go out and find an actual, let's say, Von Miller replacement, sure, you're not going to be able to replace Miller, who is, by the way, coming off one of his worst seasons in 2019, then had a horrific injury in 2020. So if you're telling me right now I can get a 26-year-old who had 122 tackles last year, 3 sacks, 9 tackles for a loss, it's definitely a player that I think should be on Denver's radar. Let's go to John Houston. All right, I got you, my man. What do the Broncos do at 9? Farley, Surtain, trade dough. So I think what they end up doing ultimately is they take one of the two guys that you listed, Caleb Farley from Virginia Tech or Surtain, cornerback from Alabama. Farley has the higher upside. That's the route I personally would go. If they want to trade down, I would be very shocked. But if it's an amazing deal, hey, I'm always team trade down. What up, Shanav? Broncos get William Jackson, re-sign Simmons, Shelby Harris, re-sign Vaughn long-term, draft Farley, sign Fitzmagic, also re-sign K-Jack. I mean, that's a lot of stuff going on. I don't really think all that happens personally, because if you're going to go ahead and bring in William Jackson, then I don't really know why you're going to draft Caleb Farley. So I think you'd kind of have to pick one of them. William Jackson doesn't seem as likely, but I do think Caleb Farley makes a lot of sense. But they got money, but that's a lot of money, homeboy. Michael Lamps. I love Lamps. I heard the Broncos are cutting Kareem Jackson. Is that true? Well, Michael, if you're a Broncos fan, go check out our Broncos channel, which actually Sam runs, youtube.com/Broncos TV. So I think you're talking about this quote from John Clayton on Kareem Jackson. This is exactly what it said, or what Clayton had to say. My feeling is that he's going to be a cap casualty. What it still comes down to, and this goes back to Von Miller, can you keep both at a high number? If you're going to be putting money into one safety and tight cap, it's going to be tough to get the second one in there. So he's also talking about Justin Simmons as well. Like, the Broncos have a lot of talented players. Sure, they got a lot of money, but if you could potentially move on from Kareem Jackson and save some of that money, it's an option. So, is it happened yet? No. Could it happen? Yes, there's a possibility there. So it is going to be cutting season soon. And I'm not talking about just because the weather's going to be coming out, sun's out, guns out, skies out, thighs out, whatever the people are calling it now. But I want you to name a player that could be a surprise cut. Now, obviously, surprise cuts, they happen all the time. The Raiders, they cut Gabe Jackson, which I thought was a big surprise. The Dolphins, they're going to be moving on from Kyle Van Noy. It happens every year. So go down, let me know. Name a player that could be a surprise cut. All right, we got Tristan Brown, best backup option. Mond, Ellinger, Trask, or Book. Oh, boy. I mean, out of all those, I'm going to go with Kyle Trask because I don't think Kellen Mond's ever going to be an NFL quarterback. Sam Ellinger is never going to be, literally, I think his best chance is to be Taysom Hill. And Ian Book, he's a good leader, but always just going to be a backup quarterback in the NFL. So I guess I'm going to go with Kyle Trask. But maybe it's Ian Book if you want somebody that can be a solid quarterback 3 and really be a good player coach on and off the field. Because I do think he's probably the most intelligent and most smart football player out of those 4. All right, we got a Cash. What up, my man? What do you think are going to be the top 3 40-yard dashes and predict times? Let me just say this here. If you have any, 40 times, if there's no NFL Combine, you're going to see times that you just never seen before because pro days are not the same as the NFL draft. So, honestly, I'm not going to believe any 40-yard dash times. I'm just going to be honest with you. Let's go with Elijah here. What is it free agent time? So, when is it? So, March 17th, 4 p.m. Eastern Time is the start of free agency. Tampering period starts 48 hours before then. So, it's basically when coaches can start to reach out to players.
Timothy Mullen, I know it's early. Who are the top prospects in next year's draft class? All I want to know is Sam Howell. I haven't done very much. The guy I love, though, I promise you right now, AO's just got 2 great receivers. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, because I watched plenty of Olave in prep for this year. Kayvon Thibodeau, the edge rusher from Oregon. This year's class, not great. Next year, though, he's going to be really good. And by the way, if you have draft questions on this year's class for now, because I'm already behind enough as it is, hit me up on Twitter at @WhatGoingDowney, and we'll do plenty of draft stuff here going forward. From a Cash, what other defensive lineman ranking 1 through 5 should teams be interested in? Are you talking draft? Christian Barmore's number 1. After that, it's not great. You could maybe go Levi Onwuzurike from Washington. Davion Nixon from Iowa. There's the 2 USC guys. Some of those players. It's honestly not a great defensive line draft class. From Botch, which receivers are a round 1 lock and which are likely to go round 1? Thinking Chase, Smith, Waddle, Bateman are guaranteed. Moore, Toney, and Marshall possibly. I think your guaranteed locks are Chase, Smith, and Waddle for sure. I say at least one of Bateman or Toney go in round 1. And I'd say if you can pick one to be a guarantee, sure. I think Rondell Moore, Terrace Marshall, those are probably your other possible round 1 guys. I don't think Amon-Ra St. Brown goes in round 1. Frankly, I'd put the over-under of round 1 receivers probably right at 4.